Day 452, 22 for 22. Good morning. Hope this finds you well. Please stay in your fight and don't quit. All right, so part two. I'll try to make this one not so long. We'll see what happens. All right, so yesterday we talked a little bit about faith and getting back into it. Got to credit the pastor, Tim Steyer, for my thoughts. They're based upon his sermon. He brought up Abraham, and if anybody knows about Abraham, it is that the man had incredible faith. And he said that and part of what I was saying yesterday is that he hasn't left you. He hasn't forsaken you, God, in that you guys have just not met back up since whatever happened to you happened. Or you've slowly lost it over time just by watching the world go round, because the world's a rough place right now. Depending on your political affiliation, the country that you live in, it's a freaking mess. So there's a lot going on. So it can shake your faith that God's going to do the right thing in the world and in our lives. Thing is, and this is my thoughts, is while God is not a crutch, he is certainly not going to be there to give stuff to you. It is, how to put this, faith that the right thing is going to happen, I guess is the best way to put it. And how's it going? It comes down to having the faith of Abraham. And evidently, and like I said, I am not the most knowledgeable person about this subject. Evidently, having the faith of Abraham is pretty much a guarantee that you are going to heaven, that you are going to do, that he will stand by you, and that he will help create something from nothing. And a lot of us find ourselves in that position of having nothing. I'm blessed, and I give a lot of credit to having faith, a good work ethic, and never, ever quitting. I almost quit once, but then I didn't. But it's having the faith of Abraham, which means is just putting that one foot in front of the other, taking that next breath and moving on, that something good is going to happen. It may not happen tomorrow. It may not happen today. It may not happen in a year. I've had periods of happy over the past 14 years. But it has taken a steady growth in my own faith after thinking that God had forsaken me. Slowly getting back into my faith and believing, as my wife does, that if we do the right things and if we have the faith, that good things will happen. And they have. And while we still have trials, tribulations, many that far pale in comparison to what some of you guys are going through, we have gotten to where we are. And that is just putting one foot in front of the other, having faith that that good things will happen if we keep doing the right things. And as they say, if things are not going necessarily the way you planned them, it's not the way things were supposed to go. And it's tough, and it's an intangible unless you go into church and watch faith in action, or see a mission going on over in, say, the Philippines or in Somalia or wherever that we have a Christian mission. If you happen to be involved with it, there you see real faith. You see faith. Whether it's real, don't know. It's to them. It surely is. Like I said, this is a tough subject because not a lot of people have an overtly outward faith in God, and a lot of people have written it off, and enough people are atheists that this can be considered controversial. But It's just keep putting one foot in front of the other until you get to the objective. And I've talked a ton about planning, and that is part of it. Now, with having the faith of Abraham, you're not necessarily planning your final destination, as in what happens when you die. But there's no problem with planning the route to that final destination. And if things don't work, and that's part of faith, is stopping what you're doing right then and there, coming up with an alternate plan to get around the obstacle placed in front of you. And it may not take you to that first destination that you had planned that is after that obstacle. Example, and it's a small example, is me with what I wanted to do with my life, and then having what happened to me with the heart happen. Like I've said before, planned law enforcement. After what happened to my heart, I still butted my head up against it and still tried every chance I had to get into something that I could do. Got automatically disqualified from the state troopers. I tried that in New York. Local PD, no. Tried the federal because they're usually a little bit more lenient towards the disabled. That didn't work either because they still have the physical requirements. So, boom, there's the obstacle. How do I overcome it? Well, I sit back and look at my priorities and what I want to do and the purposes that I have in my life, and then worked with what I had inside my new normal and came up with, all right, I want to do something where it's basically I serve my country again somehow, and I am. It took about 2 years to get to where I wanted to be. I think I'm where I'm supposed to be. It feels right. The security job that I had was great, but it didn't feel right. So, like I said, and that's just a personal example, and we didn't get into this church until after, but that doesn't change the fact that my wife and I both had faith that we would be led to where we're supposed to be. This feels right. So, if it doesn't feel right, make some changes. And like I said, have the faith of Abraham. Just put one foot in front of the other and keep going, and it'll come to you where you're supposed to be if you let it. And keeping, if things are not working for you, and this goes, now I'm getting out of the spiritual part of it, if you keep doing the same things expecting a different result, that's insanity. You have to try something new. You have to try to renew yourself. You have to try to figure out the long-term goals for yourself that tie in with who you are. Now, if you're sitting on the edge of that cliff looking into the abyss, you're not necessarily wanting to rethink your whole life. You're sitting there, you're hugged up on your enemy, PTSD, or whatever's put you there. And you need to cast that stuff off, stand up, turn around, and march back into your life and try to figure it out. And no quitting. You did not quit when you were overseas. You did not quit through your training. You did not quit through a lot of stuff in your life. Don't quit now on the most important thing you have, which is your life. I'm going to wrap this up, and tomorrow, I'm not sure where I'm going with this. I'll listen again and pick something out and key on that. But the faith of Abraham, just put one foot in front of the other and keep moving. All right, here we go. And as I said, I got to credit my pastor, Tim Steyer, for what I'm saying here. Like I said yesterday, his sermon hit home when I was in church on Sunday. So, this is what we're getting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. One for the airborne ranger in the sky. One for the infantry. One for the fallen. Ouch. Alright, so stay in your fight. Don't quit. If you need help, seek help. Get it from friends, family, professionals. But whatever you do, please do not use suicide as a solution for a permanent or temporary problem. You got this. Check out my YouTube channel. It's that_push-up_guy_tough. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and let me know that you're there. There's content all the way back to, I think, day 290. If you need to pick me up, it's there. And there's plenty of different subjects in there. And really, really just hoping to do some good here. This has become a calling. So be here tomorrow. You got this. Tough out.